Welcome back, guys, to Spooky Moon Stories. I'm your host, Harry, and today's video, I'm really excited for it because it was a story that as I was reading it, I was thinking to myself of all the times I've worked the graveyard shift at a job, and I had a spooky encounter or spooky supernatural event take place while I was on the clock. Stay till the end because there's a surprise at the end of the video. Let's jump right in. So this video comes out of a janitorial worker who worked in Florida. He had just started his job. He was excited to get going. He knew that it was a job where he could be alone. He could have some time to reflect in his own mind, his own thoughts, something that would be slower. It would still help pay the bills. He was really excited about the opportunity to be able to clean his school and have that quiet time and take his time doing his job. Something that he noted right off the bat were that he had been told that a lot of the previous janitors who worked this school had left the job and hadn't given a specific reason as to why. And he thought this was interesting considering the amount of janitors who had left the job and not said anything to the employer as to their reasoning why. And so he began doing a little bit of digging, a little bit of homework, and he actually reached out to figure out why these janitors had left the job. And all they said to him was, every night at this school, something happens. Now, of course, he's thinking, what is it? Bad kids trying to break into the school, trying to do graffiti on the school. Something happens. What does that mean? He didn't think much of it. He didn't put much stake into what he was being told. So he was just excited to get the job started. And for a while, he did. He was able to go in, clean the school, have a good time, as far as having a good time doing janitorial work, which is totally fine. And he was able to complete his task, no problems. But on this one specific night, he had an encounter that he would never forget, that was super spooky and super supernatural. He ended up doing what any person who maybe thought they might be going crazy might do, which is pull out their phones and start recording the event. So he was cleaning the school. Everything had gone according to plan. The students had had a party in one of the classrooms, kind of one of the bigger classrooms. Almost looks like those classes that it's like double the size of a regular class, which would make sense if the students are trying to have a party that day in the class. You'd want a bigger room so you can accommodate more people in there. Well, everything was said and done. The party was had. Everyone had cleared the school, and he started doing his normal shift, working on his normal shift. Everything was going good. He cleaned in the bathrooms. He was cleaning in the hallways. He was cleaning in the rooms. He had gone back to his supply closet a couple of times and grabbed some cleaning items. And then all of a sudden, he got to the classroom where the kids had had this party. And he immediately noticed that there was confetti on the floor, there was decorations still up in the class, and there were balloons that were left in the class. Balloons that still had helium, I'd assume, because they were still floating. But these were the kind of balloons that they weren't floating up on the roof because of the helium, but the ones that you tie something to the bottom of the balloon and they're floating, but they're still grounded to the ground, held to the ground essentially. And he noticed all of these balloons off to the right together. Looked like they had kind of gathered the balloons in the same spot and left them there to make it easier for him to clean or whoever was going to clean the classroom later the next day. And then he noticed one red balloon off to the left. Now, he didn't pay much mind to it, so he just started cleaning the classroom. He's like, I'll clean this classroom. I appreciate them putting all the balloons in one place. I'll start picking up the confetti. And then he noticed something out of the corner of his eye. This red balloon began to move. Now, at first, he thought, yeah, there's a wind in here. Could be static. Nothing too concerning for him. Or so he thought. He continued to clean the classroom, and then he realized that wherever he went, this balloon slowly made its way towards him. Sounds crazy, right? Well, he tested it a few times, and every time he moved to a different part of the classroom, this red balloon that was once in the corner off to the left slowly began to make its way towards him. So he noted this, and it kind of spooked him out. It creeped him out. So he left the classroom and then began recording. He pulled out his phone and he started recording, making his way down the hall to the left, down the hall to the right, to the classroom. He turns the lights back on. He shows where all the balloons are sitting there and perfectly in one spot. And then he flashes back to the balloon on the left. Now, interesting enough, in the video, he actually captures that red balloon off to the left. And he starts to explain the encounter that he's been having with this balloon as he cleans this classroom. He starts to point to the balloon, and then the unexpected and the unbelievable and the spooky happens. He captures this balloon moving towards him. Now, I know what you're thinking. Harry, that could be static, that could be wind. He could be pulling it with a string. I'm sure you could come up with a lot of different conspiracies and theories as to why that balloon is moving towards him. But as you'll see in the video at the end here, it's very, very hard to debate that this video is not real, considering that he moves and the balloon moves with him. And then he actually moves out of the room, and the balloon does something that would have made me just say, all right, that's it. I see why the other janitors have left. Now, I don't want to spoil the secret for you guys. I want you guys to see it for yourself and tell me what you think. But I know that there have been times when I've been working a graveyard shift in an old building. For example, I used to work in a government building on the graveyard shift that was once a hospital back in the early 1900s. It was used as a hospital for many, many, many years before the county purchased the building and turned it into a government center where the mayor and her employees could be there. And I worked that building alone many, many nights on graveyard. For the most part, I just went about my business, but they had kind of like a museum setup, old nurses' coats, old nurses' outfits. You could walk a tunnel underground, weird noises going off all throughout the building. Sometimes the alarms would go off unexpectedly for no reason. Doors would open and close, lights would flicker. So you could imagine, my mind is racing sometimes when I was on those shifts thinking about what could that have been. I usually would go check and make sure there isn't an employee working late or a cleaner somewhere who forgot to close a door. And all of you that are watching this that have worked a grave shift, you know exactly what I'm talking about. It's like when you're working the graveyard shift alone or with someone else and it's a big building, or maybe you're outside. Sometimes it just gets eerie, it gets spooky. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get that video footage rolling.
Just to, I don't know, let you guys know this school was built on a cemetery. I don't know if that helps my situation or not, but previous janitors that have worked here have tried to tell everyone that, every night something happens, some spooky shit, I don't know, paranormal or whatever you want to call it, but yeah, I didn't really believe them until tonight. I was in here cleaning up after some students had thrown a party, but what's been freaking me out is this one right here. No matter where I'm at in the classroom or what I decide to do, it just follows me. And do your thing, you stupid balloon. I got you on camera now, so let's just, see? That right there. Shit. Just ooh, okay. See, no. It just follows me no matter what. Ooh.
Oh my gosh. Right? What did you guys think of that video? That is a crazy video and it fits this channel perfectly. It falls right into that spooky moon story, that spooky and mysterious and supernatural encounter. What would you guys have done? Let me know in the comments section below. Have you ever had an experience like this before working a graveyard shift, or do you know a friend or a family member who has had an interesting and spooky encounter working the graveyard shift? And as always, guys, I appreciate you guys watching my videos. I hope you're enjoying them with a cozy blanket on a cozy night with a spooky moon up in the sky. And as always, I'll talk to you guys next time.